Alright, I guess I'm going to start talking. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, and I'm with Rise. We're going to be doing some commentating today. We figured, hey, we got some time. I heard commentating's fun to do. We'll give it a try, might as well. Anyway, this is going to be, in case you couldn't figure it out from this cool intro here, kind of a hype video. This is Stork versus Jaedong, and this is going to be game 2 of the OSL round of 8. They already played game 1 last week, and I believe there was a multi-commentary of that up on Violattack now. That was an awesome game. It was absolutely ridiculous, and we're going to, of course, have to spoil game 1 to talk about game 2. Stork is actually up 1-0 in the series. Stork is up a game, and I don't think a lot of people expected that because Jaedong is, well, I mean, obviously he's just ridiculous. He's just good at everything. He doesn't have a weak matchup. He's just a monster. And Stork actually came out and took a game from him, which was a pretty big surprise, I think. So we're gonna have to see if Stork. This is a best of 3, so Stork's gonna have to take another game off him to advance to the semifinals. But Jaedong, a very, very strong player, very capable of coming back and getting 2 wins here. So we'll have to see if Stork's up to taking another game off him or not.
Well, right away we see that Jaedong has the hot booth girl advantage, so he's got that going for him, and so I can only imagine that he's definitely got things going his way early on in this match before it even starts. By the way, we have been keeping track of the booth girls, and she really is by far the hottest one out of any of the other booth girls. That means, ooh, look at that! What does that little button mean? That might be one of those. That might be a OSL medal that he's got on him. Who knows? And Stork obviously trying to win another one. We'll have to see if he's able to do that. And let's see his booth girl. Not quite as nice as the other one. I'm sorry, I'm not into that one. Either way, that means Jaedong has the advantage going into this. This map, by the way, is a 61 or 60% favored. Well, favored towards Zerg anyway. 61% win rate for Zerg on this map versus the Protoss. I don't know if you even mentioned what map it is. Sin Chupung Reyeong is going to be what they're playing on if they ever start up. But it looks like we're going to have a little bit of an intro. So, I don't know, Moletrap, why don't you tell us a story?
Yeah, maybe we should have started the casting a little bit into the video, but we're going to get a lot of intro here as they set up their computers and stuff. But that's fine, because this is a really big match, and we actually have a lot to talk about. I'll tell a story. So one time, I was going to... no, I'm just kidding. I could tell a story, I guess, if it gets to that. But first, I wanted to talk about an interview that I read the other day with Stork, where they actually interviewed him after Game 1 of the series. And they were talking about, did you expect to win and all that stuff. And, of course, he said the usual stuff about how he was excited to have won and all that stuff. But the interesting thing the most interesting part that I found about the interview was that they asked him about the upcoming games. And he said... Basically, he said, I don't think that I can win on Tears of the Moon, which is the third map in the series. So if Stork loses this game on Sin Chupung Reyeong, it'll go to a third game, tiebreaker game on Tears of the Moon. And so he said, I don't think I can win on that map. And it is a really tough map for Zerg. I think you were saying, didn't you say it was like 86% win rate for a Zerg against Protoss on the map?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so favored for Zerg, and it's crazy to play against. And, I think I remember BaToo, he said at the beginning of the season that he had some special plan for Protoss versus Zerg on that map, but I don't think he's let Stork in on it. So Stork said he didn't think he was going to be able to win on that map, and so he was hoping that he could take Game 2 because he didn't think that he had a chance in Game 3 if he lost Game 2. So he was going to focus most of his efforts. He was going to prepare for both, he said, but he said he was going to focus most of his efforts on winning on Chupung Reyeong because he figured that was his best chance. So this is going to be Stork's ace build right here on Chupung Reyeong for Game 2. It's going to be the one that he's going to show us his best moves and his best stuff is going to be this game, and they're still just warming up and stuff. By the way, if a lot of people, since we do have some time still, a lot of people wonder what the players are doing. Usually they go into a quick game against a computer or something, and they make sure that their mouse settings. Oh, look at that! That's an awesome pin I want a Stork pin like
Yeah,
that with
it's
a
pretty.
carrier. It's pretty sweet.
He needs a diamond one and hang it around his neck, you know. Stork, yo, like a gangster StarCraft player.
Yeah, and that is his OSL championship pin there on his uniform. So it's crazy to see some players like you see Nada go in and
Nada.
he's got he's got like infinity medals all over his jacket. And actually, it looks like we're gonna actually get into the game here. And well, I mean, this is just the intro. This intro is pretty cool too. But yeah, so that's why whenever you see the players like doing stuff beforehand, um, they're usually warming up and getting their like mouse sensitivity set up and all that kind of stuff. They don't want to just go in there and just play and just sit down and play, because if their settings aren't the way they want them, then it could really throw a player off. And so usually they go in beforehand and check that kind of stuff out. And here's lots of players that are no longer in the OSL. About half of them, because they made this intro in the round of 16, so half the players have already been eliminated. And incidentally, by the way, the winner of this series is going to face the winner of BaHero versus Huashin. So, that's another thing that Stork said. Actually, I'm not gonna.
And those games are up.
Those games, oh, they are up. Sweet. Stork actually said that he was hoping that that Huashin would win, because he felt more comfortable against Terran, and he didn't know if he could win a best of 5 against Zerg with the map pool that they have. So, Stork really not liking Zerg and really not liking Tears of the Moon here, it seems. So, but we'll see what he can pull out. I mean, you know, Stork, he's the king of, former king of Silver. He finally got an OSL Gold last season. And but anyway, somehow he seems to find himself to the finals. Even though there's a lot of good players around, sometimes he always ends up in the finals. So, he's definitely a really good player. And actually, finally going to get the game underway. Sweet! So, game 2 of the OSL on Sin Chupung Reyeong.
Yep, and just for you who don't know, the reason why this map is tends to be Zerg favored is because the natural expansion is pretty difficult for the Protoss to hold. And, you know, we've seen some really interesting games on this map, ZVP. Most recently, the one that comes to mind was July Zerg against, I can't remember who. It was another Protoss player. I think it could have been Jangbi, actually. I can't remember who exactly it was against. And basically what he did was he faked that he was going to go 4-hatch Hydras, and what he ended up doing was all-in Muta, and he went up against basically Speed Zealots, and it was an elimination race, but July just came out so far ahead and owned them, and it was just a very interesting map. And, you know, that's one of the many things that can happen on this map. It's not that difficult for a Zerg to take their expansions. It was free, you're right, it was free. Good call. And, you know, it's not hard for the Zerg to take their expansions, but it's very difficult for the Protoss to manage to hold theirs for whatever reason. And early on, it looked like, wow, look at this. Stork is actually going to go for some cheese right away. He's going to go for the barracks, the gateway blocking the ramp in the forge. At least that's what I'm expecting him to do. I've seen this cheese before, based on the positioning of the pylon. I can only imagine that's what it's going to be, which if he does that, what it does is it locks the Lings in on top of the ramp. They won't be able to get down the ramp and do damage. There's a forge right there. He's going to use the extractor to put his gateway, and by doing that, he's going to be able to block that ramp. But it looks like that's going to get scouted in about 2 seconds from Jaedong. Jaedong is about to see this. He's got a drone heading over there. The drone is actually heading over, but no! It's not going to make it. He's going to get caught before he can get out. Jaedong seeing this now, realizing that he might be in some trouble here. Stork is definitely pulling off this gambit so far. And what's great about this build, the way this works, is it's perfectly spaced for a cannon to go right under that forge in the nook of that little ramp so it can get extra sight vision. And what's better than that is the fact that if he puts the probe under the gateway, right under it, right next to the forge, Zealots pop out inside to the ramp. So now we see
nice.
This is the race that we're going to see from Jaedong right here. He's going to try to get these Sunkens down, but unfortunately for him, Creep takes forever to morph. So look at that. The line is going up. It's going straight up. It's finally going out a little bit. Unluckily for him, it's going to be very difficult waiting for that last little section to go down. It looks like he's just managed to go down. He's got a pool going down. He can't even morph that into a Sunken yet until that pool's completed, of course. And now Stork is about to get that first Zealot out. The gateway is up. The first cannon is up. The second cannon is going up. And so Stork, I can only imagine, is building things at his base and trying to take advantage of the situation. But it's going to be tough. tough, and here it is. That Zealot is used for sight to get hits on those Sunkens, and instead he's targeting the Overlord. But you got to be careful, and he's actually going for drone kills at the same time. So the question is, will Jaedong be able to handle this attack? I mean, it's going to be tough. This is a very difficult cheese to pull off.
Wow, this is amazing that he's actually trying to go for this. This is crazy, and I'm not sure why Stork didn't target the Sunken Colony with his Zealot there. I think that would have been a little bit safer than those Zerglings. Although he has managed to kill a couple drones, so nicely done in that sense. The second Zealot is out now, but Jaedong's Sunken Colony is a really nice position at this point to attack that Forge. That Forge is going to go down before too long, actually. So it looks like, I'm not sure if Stork has really accomplished enough with this cheese. It's a really, really cool build here, putting those buildings in that location, but the Forge is going to go down in just a minute. He's starting to build pylons at his own base and another cannon there, so he's really just going to try and basically contain Jaedong and probably have to go for a longer game at this point, because I don't think there's a way he can just get enough Zealots in there to deal with this. And his Spire already going down, though, off of one hatchery. And Jaedong, I have to say, I noticed right as soon as he saw what was going on, Jaedong reacted perfectly. He's immediately put down a pool and a gas, and that's how he was able to get out a Spire so quickly. So actually, Stork might be in a little bit of trouble at this point, because if Jaedong gets some mutas out, and he can easily attack Stork's base before Stork gets anything up, Stork might be able to put some cannons in his main, but he doesn't have any tech right now. He just put down his core, so it's going to be a little while until he's able to get Corsairs out or anything like that. In the meantime, this cheese front door contain has been busted, so things are not actually looking very good for Stork. The only thing he has going for him is that Jaedong only has one hatchery.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? He definitely does not want to face Jaedong on the next map. I mean, I think he really wanted to end this on this game, and I gotta say, I think this is a poor choice, because the last time I saw this cheese done in a pro game, it also failed against the Zerg player. Same reason. You got the 30% miss rate going against the cannons, trying to fire up against Sunkens, which have a lot of health to them. They can definitely take a few hits, and by running in Zerglings in and out, the Zerglings mitigate those attacks, so that Sunken ends up lasting a lot longer than it normally would. And so now Stork is definitely fighting his way back into the game from behind. Look at all the buildings he's lost. Look at all the tech that he's lost. I mean, he's just got a ways to go. And Jaedong, economically, has not been harassed at all. And, you know, the next map is Return of the King. And Return of the King, like we were saying, was 86% win rate for Zerg. And the only two Zergs that have ever lost are Fire Fist and the Zerg. So, I mean, really, there's not much hope for Stork going into the next match if he doesn't live here. And by the way, Jaedong is now going to take down the two cannons right outside of his base. There's one Zealot there that tried to defend this with the two cannons. They're going to take him down. And now Stork has just lost all those minerals once again. And he is just, based on what he's got left, he's in a lot of trouble. He's got only a Stargate. I don't even see a gateway anywhere. And I don't know how he can defend against this.
Oh my god, he doesn't have a gateway. All he has is that Stargate. He's not going to be able to produce Zealots. Jaedong finally getting another hatchery out, though, and so that is the one thing that Stork has going, is that they're basically even in economy, because they're both at one base right now. Stork has managed to get a couple cannons down and a Corsair, and I think that's going to be enough to defend against the current amount of Mutalisks. Jaedong, if he produces, 7 or 8 mutas and a couple Scourge, he'll be able to go in there and destroy this, though. So it's a matter of time. Stork needs to get something out, to get some greater defense out pretty quickly. Or he's going to be gone in the long run. By the way, I think you said Return of the King. You meant Tears in the Moon is actually the next map.
Yes,
but,
yes, sorry about that.
That's right. But yeah, Stork, he doesn't have a gateway. Now he's putting up another gateway finally. He's only able to produce Corsairs right now. And Jaedong, in the meantime, getting a Hydralisk Den down. So he's going to follow up by switching tech and getting some Hydras out. And really, 6 Hydralisks could take Stork's base out right now. There's only 2 cannons right there. And so this is really not looking good for him. I mean, the Corsairs obviously are going to... A few Corsairs are good for, fending off those Mutalisks.
One Ling!
But one Ling is going to go in and just chill around. I think he can attack a lot of Stork's buildings without getting hit by those cannons. Maybe that gateway. But, wow. Yeah, Stork... that just did not work well enough, and I'm puzzled by the fact that he again went and tried to get some drone kills instead of realizing that one Sunken Colony would totally kill his cheese and trying to go after the Sunken Colony instead.
Yeah, that was a little baffling to me as well. I got to say, I thought that he would have attacked that when he sent that first zealot in. I was like, oh yeah, he's just going to take out that sunken because he knows that that'll kill him if he doesn't. And what happened? That'll kill him. That's right. That's exactly what happened. So now, Jaedong doing exactly what he should have done, which is go for a Muta build, because this way he doesn't have to worry about the cannons out at the front. And then as soon as he takes out the cannons in the front, switch tech to Hydras, because guess what? Stork's got nothing. He's got to put cannons in his main to try to defend against the Muta, but really the Muta were just a fake out. And now look at all the Corsairs that he's building. He's going up against Hydras. He doesn't even know he's going up against Hydras at this point. He hasn't ventured out of his base in quite a while to see that there are Hydras there. So now he's going mass Corsair. He's trying to tech to DTs so he can go Sair DT, because it's the only way he can come back. And I would imagine that's the reason he's continuing to get those Corsairs out, so he can take out any Overlords that might be heading that way. But the Hydras are already on their way, and they're going to try to start taking Stork out right away. And now Stork trying to expand. He's going to try to put down a pylon, but that's not going to work very well against the incoming Hydra force, which, again, you said that Jaedong could probably take him out with 6 Hydras. I'd argue that he could do it with the 5 that he has here. I mean, again, there's one Zealot out to do any attacking, and that's not going to really do too much. So looks like he's just going to focus on the outer buildings here. The one gateway going to go down, because, again, even if he pops out another couple of Zealots very quickly, he won't be able to do anything. Corsair is trying to go back, try to do some damage back there, back at Jaedong's base, but it's not going to work because he's already got Hydras there as well. And a good amount of Hydras. He's got another 5 there. One Corsair about to go down. No, actually decent micro coming from Stork. He's going to manage to take out, what, 1 or 2 Overlords, and he does lose a couple of Sairs in the process. And now the cannons are going down. Jaedong is going for the throat at this point, and Stork has got nothing to say about it, because all he's got is the probes to try to defend this as he tries to pump DTs out of his one gateway. But it doesn't matter. One DT will not win against the forces that Jaedong can force over to his base right now.
That's just embarrassing. That's just, I mean, seriously, he just ran in with a few Hydralisks, and what did he expect to happen? There's GG.
GG.
I mean, that was completely,
Wow.
that was the definition of cheese. That was all in, because even though he spent a lot of effort and time on trying to recover, I think as soon as that sunken colony came in, he was gone. That was pretty much game right there, because he had everything at that front door, and that one sunken colony took out slowly everything that Stork put there. And so Stork is going to have to try and defend himself on Tears of the Moon now. He's going to have to do what almost no one has been able to do, and win as a Protoss against Zerg. And so let's go to Game 3 and find out if Stork can pull off a miracle.